Hi everybody, my name is Dor Garbash. I'm the head of product for Voltaire, and today I'm going to talk to you about the power of catalysts. 50% of US annual GDP growth can be attributed to product and service innovation. 90% of executives claim that long-term organizational success depends on developing and implementing new ideas. So everybody understands it's important, but in the last 15 years, 52% of the Fortune 500 companies have disappeared. Think about that astounding number. Think about all the advantages they had in the industry and the fact that they couldn't innovate to save their own life. So the question is, how can large organizations innovate in scale? And what can we do about it? Digging into the problem, we can see that explore and exploit doesn't work. In fact, research shows that companies that are trying to both innovate new products and also, let's say, like scale up and monetize, having a very hard time to do it, to the rate of 75% failure rate. Companies are experiencing cost innovation, where instead of striving to, do some paradigm changing or a novel blue sky thing, they're just doing small, they're designing like a better shoe. Okay, let's call it like that. In terms of the return of investment, employees and companies are not really incentivized to innovate. They're more incentivized to follow orders, work within the hierarchy. When you think about governance, as in decision making, these organizations are plagued with bottleneck decision making. There's only very few people that have decision making power, and they're usually very, very busy. So a lot of times decisions just don't get made, or they get made very slowly, or when it's too late. And also, when you're trying to pull off some kind of a big move of sorts, it's very slow to build consensus. So you need to convince all the different departments and talk to them and convince them and gather the consensus, which slows down innovation considerably. Even when you think about execution, okay, like once we did decide on something, how we execute it, you can see that a lot of the resources are allocated to the cash cows, okay, what I said is exploitation, like those who are doing like safe, measurable things, and there's less resources to those who do, let's say, wild exploration or thinking about the next stage, the next step. Another problem is these companies can hardly pivot. So even a very lean startup can pivot maybe 3 times a year, max. And not talking about much larger companies. And lastly, hiring is very slow. Can take months to bring new capacity, and also firing people is extremely risky. All of these things overall create very slow to innovate organizations that, in a way that is not surprising that 52% of Fortune 500 companies have actually failed. So Catalyst is a solution to this problem. We created a marketplace for solving wicked problems. So, you can look at this, scheme here, and so you can see that. So funds from Cardano Treasury go into the Catalyst system. Around the Catalyst system, there's an ecosystem of tools, okay, all competing on how can we create the best processes, okay, to drive an innovation cycle well. Then you have the challenges, all of them competing. Which challenge is going to be picked? Which challenge is going to be voted by the community? which one is the most relevant to the Cardano mission. Then within each challenge, there are competing proposals, and they're competing who's going to come up with the best solutions to address the challenge. And then on top of that, you have advisors competing of who can provide the best estimates, the best assessments, be the most discerning, but also constructive and supportive of proposals. And one more thing, accelerators and incubators. So once proposers get funded, who is going to help them execute to produce the best outcomes? All right, so it's an immense system of competition and innovation that is basically infinitely scalable. And we are on track to challenge the status quo. All right, so in terms of innovation, in 2021, we're going to see 300 projects funded. In 2022, 4,500 projects are expected to be funded. 500 projects running in parallel, solving, as you can see, like 19 unique, right now we have 19 unique challenges, and that number is bound to go up. And in the latest funding round, we had 700, or more like 711 eligible proposers competing to address these challenges. We have an incentive system that makes sure that everybody who performs well gets incentivized to the scale of around $1.5 billion worth of ADA. That is the amount that is in our treasury. In terms of governance, you can see that we have 30,000 unique wallets voting, 600 votes submitted, 200 unique advisors assessing, discerning, sharing rationale, and providing proposers and voters feedback on what they think is a good choice to make, who to fund. We are mobilizing thousands of people. Every 3 months, thousands of people are mobilized to create new challenges, new solutions, new assessments. Not only that, but there's a very large unique community, almost 5,000 or more unique views every week join our live town hall. Not only that, catalysts have generated more engagement, not just from the top 10 DAOs in the ecosystem combined, but all of them combined, and if you take Bitcoin together, and you just tally up the number of unique voters participating, you see that Catalyst, with its 30,000 plus voters, is larger than all of them combined. Phenomenal growth. In terms of ROI, just in a year, we've seen all these projects and hundreds more that are about to get famous, that's been launched through Catalyst, launched through this process. You might have heard about some of these names and the innovation they bring. Not only that, but we've been measuring the reports about the return on intention. And we can see that in Fund 2, which was basically our first fund, 1,219 devs attracted, 32 dApps launched, 889 entrepreneurs attracted to the ecosystem. And then Fund 3 and Fund 4, you can see even, you can look at the numbers as they grow. Fund 4 has 3,014 developers engaged. Like a total between these two funds is like almost 250 developers onboarded. And most of the projects have barely started. They just launched a few months ago. We're still very early in reporting the return on investment that's been generated by this amazing innovation machine. We are beginning to discover what we can do together. So running a survey through in a Dscaler innovation platform, you can see almost 13 8,000 entrepreneurs, 8,600 developers, thousands of marketers, thousands of stakeholder operators, teachers, and community managers all work together, collaborate and coordinate to produce value. You know, this is not a coincidence. The growth of Catalyst and its adoption. It's a global phenomena. If you look at millennials, there's been a survey done by Deloitte agency surveying basically thousands of employees in enterprise companies. And they really see that really what millennials are looking for is values of collaboration. Here you can see the variety of experiences, the use mate of skills, professional development, personal recognition, cross-team collaboration. These are the big factors that influence those who are staying at their job and those that are quitting it after a short amount of time. And of course, all of this stuff is what Catalyst can provide that this large organization cannot. So, taking that into account, we did a survey in our community and we asked, like, okay, how much of your time do you dedicate to Catalyst? And you can see that actually 4% of our surveys, and this was more than 500 people that were in the survey, actually quit their job and left to dedicate themselves full-time to Catalyst. You know, another 3% are, you know, dedicated full-time to Catalyst, another 5% half-time dedicated, and like a much larger number is, you know, is like, you know, part-time or less. But it's only a matter of time until more and more people see that this system can provide them much more than what a regular organization can. Here's a little extract from a town hall we ran a few weeks ago. So, Ashish.
Hello. So, how do I start? Okay, so my proposal.
Can I ask you a question even before even like, so can you tell us a bit, first of all, like, I'd love if you just like, tell us about yourself, where are you from, how did you learn about Catalyst, and like, and also most importantly, are you happy that you took the leap and became a proposer?
Yeah, I mean, it was the greatest thing that actually came to my life. Actually, that's really it is, because not just because of this one particular proposal, but I also had a proposal in Fund 4, and before that had a proposal in Fund 2, which failed miserably. But I tried again, worked out. I tried again in Fund 5, it did work again. And yeah, before I go further, like, I'm from India, Bangalore, and I have been following Cardano from 2017, and then started much more exploring and started technicalities and stuff like that.
So as you can see, it's not just the numbers, it's the people. It's the energy, it's the engagement that has captured people into the system. And while it's not perfect, it's good enough to expand. You know, the experiment is a success. Our latest survey, covering more than 1,100 people, showed a very high net promoter score of 8, more than 8. And like on average, people on a scale, and when we ask for people on a scale from 1 to 5, how much you agree, how much do you agree about the fairness, about the ease of use, about the impact, and about your trust of the ranking system of proposals, like the community advisor work, you know. And you can see that on average, people are somewhere between agreeing to strongly agree about all these important traits of the system. So now it's time for the next step. And I want to announce today that we're launching a new project called Catalyst Natives. It's your opportunity to take part in the revolution. So up until now, the Cardano treasury was the source of funds for Catalyst, but we are now going to expand it and to allow the treasuries of native tokens and of dApps and NFTs to also utilize and tap into the power of Catalyst. Why are we doing this? So first of all, it's here because we want to help you. We want to help you, the founders of NFTs, dApps, native tokens, because you have a lot of things on your plate and you can't do all the things that you need to do while also needing to focus on building your project, like promoting it to diverse audiences, integrating with the ecosystem, getting traction, actually govern and figure out a decentralized treasury, be in touch with your token holders, differentiate yourself and attract talent. All of these things can be done in Catalyst by the community, by community initiatives. So I wanted to invite all of you, let's do it together. Let's catalyze the best ecosystem in our industry. You know, we can already see in Fund 6 that we had several challenges that are related to a specific application that had tremendous success. Metadata challenge in the last two funds at 55 submissions is expected to have around 15 total funded projects. You can see Atala Prism had a lot of traction with 48 proposals submitted. Even Catalyst itself, we dogged food our own solution and we had 35 funded projects. So I want you to join Catalyst Natives. It's very easy to do. Take the first step and follow the link down here. Apply by filling the form, and we will select the top applicants, and you will receive an opportunity to prototype using Catalyst for your own ecosystem, where you can submit your own native challenges and rewards the Cardano community in your own native tokens in Fund 7. And not only that, but you will have early access to a phase 2 governance pilot that empowers native token holders as voters and decision makers to your specific challenges. So thank you very much for listening, and I hope you enjoyed this presentation and do apply. Thank you.
So by now you've heard a lot about Catalyst and about our revolutionary approach that uses innovative governance protocols and game theory to bring new projects to life on Cardano. Ventures and creators are mobilized and incentivized to come up with solutions to real-world needs and problems for the Cardano ecosystem. This is the innovation phase. And the Cardano community, made up of thousands of people who are ultimately voting and deciding which great ideas should be funded by the Cardano treasury during Catalyst's governance phase. In this talk, I'm going to center in on the execution phase, because this talk is all about exponential growth and delivery. Growth of projects, growth of communities, and growth of knowledge. I'm going to talk to you about everything that comes after the Catalyst fund cycle ends. Why does this matter? Well, all these projects funded by Catalyst are a reflection of Catalyst itself, and this is a great experiment in human collaboration. And every Catalyst fund brings increasing numbers of new projects and people to contribute to the growth in the Cardano innovation ecosystem. Now, at Summit, more than 150 projects have been funded to date, and that number will be 300 by the end of the year. And if we stay on trajectory, maybe 4,500 new projects will be funded between now and 2022. So if you haven't made a proposal to Catalyst yet, maybe 2022 will be your year. Or maybe you're among one of the lucky ones that have already been approved by the Catalyst community and funded by the Treasury. If so, this talk is all about exploring your journey as a Catalyst pioneer. From that first victorious moment when you've learned that your project has been voted for, through to bringing your project to life and giving birth to it in the wild. You're one of the few right now that have been through the whole process and have experienced the excitement and disruptive nature of Catalyst. So this talk is dedicated to helping you to understand what's in store now that you're a Catalyst pioneer. So you've made the finish line. You've completed Catalyst. If that's you, well, first of all, a huge congratulations. You've worked so hard and you've campaigned for your idea. You've beaten the end boss, the Catalyst voting community. Let's take a moment to recognise your accomplishment. And then what? Well, now the real work begins. Catalyst is funding your project and you have to deliver what you said you would, and your return on intention, for the benefit of the entire community. That's the deal. We believe that this cumulative power of Catalyst is reflected in each individual or team's commitment and openness to work on different parts of a giant jigsaw puzzle, and in many cases under the ever-watchful eye of the entire Cardano community. And as this shows, we're beginning to see microcosms within Catalyst and Cardano's innovation ecosystem beginning to emerge. These are how many projects have been funded in each of the challenges from Fund 1 to 5. And in Fund 6, there are a total of 18 challenges and over 700 proposals that will be voted on by the community. It's an exciting time for Catalyst and for all of you Catalyst pioneers. Okay, so now you've got your funding, or maybe you might be even some ways into delivering your project. Well, if you're like most founders or visionary tech entrepreneurs taking their first steps, there are so many challenges that you're up against. And Catalyst has worked really hard on problem sensing some of these to learn more about what you guys need now and how we can work together to address them. So let's talk about some of these major integration hurdles we expect you might be about to face. Probably the biggest challenge to overcome for any technical project building on Cardano is twofold. Firstly, how do I integrate with the Cardano tech stack? And also, how do I become an insider so I can get access to the relevant know-how to help my project move forward and at speed? Well, we appreciate that when it comes to Cardano's approach, there is right now quite a lot of complexity around developing your projects. And also right now, access to knowledge and expertise is an incredibly scarce resource. And this is a problem not just for blockchain companies and ventures, but almost with every startup that I know. You guys face these sorts of challenges when you first set out. It's really difficult to access expert wisdom to help you with questions that you need answers to right now. And we recognize this as a turnkey problem that needs to be addressed, and one that needs solving to help you grow. Maybe all you need is just a friendly conversation, perhaps to help with signposting to new tooling, or maybe you need more deeper hands-on mentoring. But I hear you ask, how do I get the support that I need? Well, building this ecosystem from the ground up requires a highly coordinated effort that includes venture production and community building at a truly distributed and increasingly global scale. Cardano might even become the back end of a country one day, and our hope is that your Catalyst project may be being used by millions of people. So it's critical that we start piloting and learning how to accelerate your Catalyst projects right now. So that's why we're launching the Catalyst Pioneers Pathways, a number of paths for Catalyst funded teams and individuals to collaborate with IOG and some incredible partners to bring you closer to the experts at the front line of Cardano and the outside innovation world. The first of these pathways we've already launched, and this is with the Plutus Pioneers program, which is Cardano's education pathway to upskill participants with knowledge about Plutus smart contracts. Catalyst cohort teams have already had the opportunity to join Plutus Pioneers, and this will continue. This really is the best way to get to grips with smart contracts, and while it is a technically demanding program, to date we've had many teams take up this opportunity. In Fund 5, we saw the creation of the Metadata Challenge, voted for by the Catalyst community, and this has now produced the first metadata challenge winners. So for the community and for those winners, I'm delighted to report that we have IOG's professional services group working with these teams. I'm particularly excited to see how these projects take shape, and as more and more use cases are tested and validated to make the most of token metadata, the more interesting and enabling these properties become. And now, for Fund 6, we have another incredible challenge and sets of supports to talk about. The winners of the Atala Prism Decentralized ID Mass Adoption Challenge will be receiving mentoring support from IOG's very own Atala Prism team. Okay, that's some of the technical complexity dealt with. What about the next great integration hurdle? How do I integrate my innovation with the default world? I also understand how hard it is to gain traction with people in the default world, many of which who won't know about Cardano or our blockchain technology. And for every founder, you really need to find people who will believe in your project and help you to open new doors in order to take the project from concepts and prototypes to real-world user adoption and applications. Our colleagues at the Cardano Foundation are also highly aware of this challenge, and we're thrilled they're collaborating with Catalyst by supporting winners of the local community centres challenge, helping with building new Cardano communities. We're counting on more Cardano Foundation support and expertise as more and more projects get funded. Thank you to everyone at CF who's working with us there. Lastly, how can I integrate my innovation to earn a living? Whilst we understand there are many more challenges, these three that I've mentioned so far are amongst the most difficult and troublesome for any early stage startup. And finding any way possible so that you can follow your passion and continue doing what you love and get paid for it has to be among one of the most difficult steps for any startup venture. A job made even harder if your innovation is so groundbreaking that most paying customers don't even realize they need it yet. And although finding a business model and product market fit is an everyday part of venture building and part of almost every entrepreneur's journey, really nailing it is super tough. And as Catalyst is likely to have funded around 300 projects by the end of 2021, in order to give these projects the absolute best chance of success, we must get started with some bold new moves. So now, here at Summit, we're announcing the launch of two exciting and brand new Catalyst Accelerator programs. Our first steps as part of IOG's strategy for the Catalyst innovation ecosystem. These accelerators will incubate up to 90 Catalyst-funded project teams over the next few months, and they'll provide access to amazing pools of resource, tools, and mentors to help you with your journey. The first accelerator partner is Ice Addis, supporting IOG's Africa strategy, supporting high-potential Africa-focused startups with mentoring and strategic matchmaking. These startups will get boosted with intensive business training and support to get visibility for your projects with many different types of stakeholders, including enterprises, governments, and the general public. The second accelerator partner is Entrepreneurdy, headquartered in Norway and working across Europe, who will be providing support to a high number of projects to develop critical venture building skills and to help you test your assumptions and provide mentoring to help you refine your business case and improve your investor readiness and go-to-market strategy. Both of these accelerator programs will offer Catalyst-funded entrepreneurs and teams opportunities to refine the focus and sharpen your abilities to communicate your innovations with confidence to stakeholders, investors, and real-world customers. So that's what you can expect over the next few months. But why are we doing this, and what is expected from you in return? Well, for Project Catalyst, projects supported like this means we all share in the successes, and this increases the value of the Catalyst project as a whole. The projects that are voted on and funded by Catalyst will have a far better chance of succeeding if they're supported by professional acceleration services. By having IOG bootstrap these support services for the benefit of the entire Cardano ecosystem, once projects reach real levels of success, this will boost the value of Catalyst overall and make our ecosystem a far more attractive ecosystem for people and customers to participate in. And we still have some very analog philosophies to discuss about how else we'll achieve our ambitious goals and deliver return on intention. One thing we've not yet talked about is your commitment to delivering your project. And since we're experimenting with new models of governance where voters are collectively deciding on which projects should be green-lit, each project funded by Catalyst really does have a responsibility to the community that voted for it. So we can think about what are the right sorts of values for Catalyst pioneers on the whole. Values that are considerate of all those people that have voted for the project to be brought into existence. So what are Catalyst's communal values, and what are the benefits and outcomes of adhering to these? Human-to-human collaboration really is the engine of Catalyst. What we can achieve together means as a community we will all build, learn and test our ideas and collectively bring innovation onto the Cardano platform. So by working together, you are far more likely to build that know-how about what works and what doesn't quicker. And you'll be able to share solutions to common problems with people that are in a similar boat to you. And the entire community cares about your performance, because at the end of the day, all of this experimentation comes down to legitimacy. If your project doesn't perform well, it will be overlooked or become obsolete altogether. And since technology evolves at such a pace, can you really afford not to collaborate? You are the early adopters of this community-driven phenomenon, and you're a reflection of Catalyst's values. And so the reason for collaboration is simple. Delivering your return on intention is about solving really hard problems together. If we take a look at the traditional tech accelerators and startup programs in the world today, typically cohort teams are mostly in competition with each other, mostly competing for investment at the end of their programs. As a result, there is all too often a lack of know-how and expertise that is not being shared between teams. And this mindset can make you less productive and really doesn't help to remove blockers that could have been solved earlier. In Catalyst, your projects have already got the funding to get started, meaning you should have access to most of the resources you need. And so, since you're not competing anymore for votes or for resources, you're no longer in competition with each other, meaning you can employ all sorts of pragmatic heuristics in order to move fast and try to break things. You're able to outcompete, outmaneuver and out-collaborate if you act less as a single organism and more like the sum of all of your parts. Collaborating and demonstrating that what you're doing is producing results is in turn what builds integrity and trust between your peers, the Cardano community, and then in time, the outside world peeking in and taking an interest in what we're doing with Project Catalyst. And we believe that your abilities to use the ADA that you're being awarded to make genuine impact and produce results that in the months and years to come prove how we self-organized, self-determined and self-governed, we've proven, hopefully, that this was the right solution to some very wicked problems in the world around us. And so the integrity of Catalyst has foundations which could have some really profound results if we do it correctly. But we really have to do this together. The community is trusting you to deliver what you said you would, and one of the conditions of this funding is that projects must report to the community and remain accountable throughout the entire project. This is a great way for us to be able to highlight and celebrate all of your achievements and outputs. So we ask that your project and the people working within your project be open and transparent about your progress, and that you tell us about your experiences during these execution phases. Every 2 weeks, project teams must supply a short written report, and we've been running online coordinator sessions where fairly large numbers of attendees show up and take it in turns to report on their progress since the last meeting and discuss any challenges that they've had to overcome. We're also making it easier to submit reports, and we'll look forward to the outputs of these projects funded during the distributed decision-making challenges, where projects will help provide insight and analysis of some of the Catalyst processes and our data. So just like a startup, Catalyst can learn and iterate in order to optimize our own approach. So now looking to next year and beyond, we have some ambitious goals for the Catalyst innovation ecosystem. And with each cycle of Catalyst's voting rounds, we bring on so many more projects to watch out for. We'll be looking closely at how these pilot Catalyst Pioneers pathways take shape over the next 6 months, and how this might lead to new opportunities for research and development in order to strengthen Catalyst's virtuous loop. The team and I will be thinking a lot about how to incentivize and distribute impact evaluation and monitor each project's return on intention, somewhere towards developing a community-led protocol to validate a project's proof of delivery. Because as we grow the number of projects, pilots and people participating in Catalyst, we really need more people power to help accelerate your ideas and to sanity check that your project is on the right path. And if it's not, we want to be able to provide you with timely expertise to help you to correct. We'll also be introducing a new Catalyst investment group to help identify opportunities to further boost really promising projects. And for Fund 7, I have the great pleasure in one final announcement. We'll be launching a challenge dedicated to bringing many new mentors and accelerator partners into the Catalyst ecosystem to help drive your growth and offer new pathway for Catalyst pioneers. So we can now offer incubators and accelerators from all over the world the opportunity to take a bite into the Catalyst pie and help us to develop a marketplace for innovation. So there you have it. I hope that you're now up to speed with what Catalyst is up to after the voting ends, and perhaps you're inspired to get involved. The pathway to making a movement of Catalyst is all about openness and transparency. Open innovation, open to collaboration, and an openness to be held accountable for your actions. But all this openness needs more than just IOG or you guys. We really must upgrade the process for innovation altogether. And with each Catalyst fund and each project funded, we're really providing the proof points for this overhaul and an upgrade in human effort and collective intelligence. Thank you.